Concord has officially shut down. Now I know what you are thinking. Didn't this title already shut down months ago? Yes, you would be correct. In fact, it shut down only a few weeks after release. However, things can always get worse, and sadly for Concord, it did. Not only did the game shut down, but so did the studio. As of right now, it is unclear what will happen to the developers who work there. Some will likely be moved to other studios, while others will probably lose their jobs. Personally, I do feel a bit mixed about this. On the one hand, I never want to celebrate someone losing their job. If it was up to me, I would rather have the decision makers, narrative leads, and creative minds behind this title step down. In my opinion, it is their fault this title failed. The developers who just need to follow orders are the true victims in this case. They are not the ones hiring Sweet Baby Inc., fighting with fans on Twitter, making horrible designs, or writing terrible stories. However, they also do not get a complete pass as they designed a broken game. Sony, on their part, made a terrible decision by buying the studio. The amount of money they likely lost would be insane. It is reported that Firewalk had already received close to $200 million in investments before Sony bought them. Then Sony spent another $200 million, making the game playable. That is on top of whatever Sony paid for the studio. It is likely that Sony spent close to $500 million on this studio and game. This is what happens when you buy into the live service hype. Throughout all of this, Firewalk has never really said much. We did hear from a few employees who were unsure of their futures. However, beyond that, there was mostly silence. We have now received an official response from Firewalk confirming that the whole studio is dead. However, Sony made a statement first saying, "Dear team, today I want to share some important updates from Sony Interactive Entertainment's Studio Business Group. We consistently evaluate our games portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities. As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen SIE's studio business, we have had to make a difficult decision relating to two of our studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. Regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, an important update on Concord, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players, and as a result, we took the game offline. We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. As Sony stated in their post, the game simply never landed with fans. While I am sure they could have tried a few things to keep the title alive for a bit longer, they would have wasted their money. It is best to cut your losses and move on. Now, in addition to Sony responding, Firewalk also decided to put out their own statement that reads, "Firewalk is signing off one last time." Firewalk began with the idea of bringing the joy of multiplayer to a larger audience. Along the way, we assembled an incredible team who were able to navigate growing a new startup into a team during a global pandemic. Firewalk was founded in 2018 and was very small for its first couple years, only entering full production in 2022. Build a new customized next-generation FPS engine in Unreal 4 and 5, delivering top-tier gameplay feel, beautiful worlds, and a performant 60 frames per second technical experience on a stable and scalable backend on PS5 and PC to hundreds of thousands of players in our beta. Now, I want to take a moment right here. The statement about top-tier gameplay is debatable at best. It is not the worst ever, but nowhere close to where it needs to be. It is a crowded market, and simply being good is not enough. They had to stand out and did not do that. Well, technically, they did stand out, but not for the right reasons. They also claimed to have hundreds of thousands of players. They peaked at close to 3,000 on Steam. I find it hard to believe the rest came from PlayStation. Maybe 100,000 payers is what they had in total. They also claimed that the game was 60 frames per second. Those are not the frame rates that I saw. I checked online and most claimed that the frame rate was much closer to 30. Sometimes it could not even handle that. They go on to say in their statement, manage an acquisition, integration, while readying technical and preliminary tests, and ultimately ship and deliver a great FPS experience to players, even if it landed much more narrowly than hoped against a heavily consolidated market. We took some risks along the way, marrying aspects of card battlers and fighting games with first-person shooters. And although some of these and other aspects of the IP didn't land as we hoped, the idea of putting new things into the world is critical to pushing the medium forward. The talent at Firewalk and the level of individual craft is truly world-class, and teams within Sony Interactive Entertainment and across the industry will be fortunate to work with them. Please reach out to recruiting at PlayStation for inquiries, and thank you to all the very many teams, partners, and fans who supported us along the way. See you in the Tempest. This statement ends one of the most short-lived games. Despite its short lifespan, it managed to spark much internet debate. As much as people do not like to admit it, visuals is still important for players. In all honesty, this title was always going to fail. It was doomed to walk the Overwatch path. However, it should have survived a few years if they did not have those horrible character designs. Ultimately, the gameplay would have killed it, but who knows? I would like to think that studios would learn lessons from this failure, but they likely won't. For many studios like this, it is a dream outcome. In fact, it is their whole marketing plan. They create an ultra-pandering game, knowing it will fail. However, since the gameplay and story won't attract attention, they do it by leaning into a social issue or being ultra-political. They then trick a sucker into buying it, and they make off like bandits. The studio heads at Firewalk likely laughing at the bank. Remember, Sony bought them. They did not lose any money. Sony did. I would love to say, go woke, go broke, but they went woke, sold out, and Sony got stuck with the bill. Happy Halloween.